To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself a righteous activity. And, and for one who hears about Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as the best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. This Bhakti Yoga severs the heart knot of material affection and enable one to come at once to the stages assumption, samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Science of Krishna. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. This is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. And in the beginning of the 4th chapter, his explanation was given by the Lord. This explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic cessation directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object for meditation and in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known, and nothing remains unknown. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. There are various grades of men, and out of many thousands one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization to try to know what is the self and is the body and what is the absolute truth. Generally, mankind is simply engaged in the animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. the first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in an understanding the self, the super self, and the process of realization by jnana yoga and dhyana yoga, and discrimination of cells from matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time, he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripada Shankaracharya, has admitted in Gita commentary has Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda. Shwara Parama Krishna Suchitananda Vigraha Nadir Radir Govindam Sarva Karana Paranam. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the part of bhakti Non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti is devotional service is very easy. They cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy as the non-devotees class of the proclaim, then why, if the path of bhakti is so easy as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules of regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers. Actually, the path of bhakti is not so easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized person without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules of regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. The Srila Goswami writes his Bhakti Rasamrita Siddha. Shruti Smriti Purana di Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harir Bhaktir Utpatayana Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores and the authorized Vedic literatures like Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. In this, it is not possible for the Brahman realized impersonalist or the Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda. It is not possible for the Brahman realized impersonalist or the Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda, of the charioteer of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna. Muhyanti yat surayah matu vedana kaschana. No one knows me as I am. The Lord say, And if one does not know him, if one does not him, then Mahatma Sudurlabha, such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is, even though one is great scholar of philosophers. Only the pure devotees can know something of the inconceivable, transcendental qualities of in Krishna, in the cause of all causes, in his omnipotence and opulence, and in his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, because Krishna is benevolent, inclined to his devotees. He is the last. He is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotees alone can realize him as he is. Therefore, it is said, Atah Shri Krishna. Atah Shri Krishna. Sorry, but Atah Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyah. Sevan Muktihi Jihvaja Swayam Evaspuratyada. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blind material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being realized with them for their transcendental loving service into him. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligent, and false ego. Altogether, these eight constitute my separated material energies. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti, of the energy of the Lord, and his different Purusha incarnations, as directed, is described in Satvata Tantra. Incarnation expansions, as directed in the Sattva Tantra. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumed three Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy, known as Mahatattva. The second, Garpadakashaya Vishnu, enters into all the universe to create diversities in each of them. The third, Ksharadakashaya Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading supersoul in all the universe and known as Paramatma. He is present even without the atoms. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. Here is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy. Here is clearly mentioned that living entities belong. Here is clearly mentioned that living entity belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements. Here clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, matter, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligent, and false ego. Both forms of material nature, namely gross and subtle mind are product of the inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord, and it is due to this energy that entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation was no the cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless in moved by superior energy. The living entity energies are always controlled by the energetic, and therefore the living entity are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies, not different purposes, for different purposes, are the superior energy of Supreme Lord, and it is due to energy that is entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by superior energy. The living entity energies are always controlled by energetic, and therefore the living entity are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. They are never equally powerful. They are never equally powerful as an intelligent man think. The distinction between the living entity and the Lord is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal, this is very difficult to read. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. These living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme, but they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, the superior energy forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. The forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But then their living entities becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy. They attains the stage called mukti or liberation. The false ego under the influence of material illusion think the false ego under the influence of material illusion thinks I am matter and material anxieties are mine. His actual position is realized. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of the becoming one in all respect with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna, and when his energy is freed from material, and when this energy is freed from material contamination, it is becomes full Krishna consciousness or liberated. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms that living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna, and when his energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna consciousness or liberated. And when this, therefore, one may conclude that Krishna confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna, and when his energy is freed from material contamination, it is becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated. All created beings have their source in their true natures. Of, uh, of all that material and all that spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is the basic field of creation, and matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created. Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is basic field of creation. Basic field of creation. And matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created at a certain stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual energy. This material body is developed because spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually to boyhood and then manhood, and because that superior energy, spirit soul, is present. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of Supersoul Vishnu. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine to manifest this gigantic universal from and originally true energies of the Lord, and consequently the Lord is the original cause of everything. A fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, namely the living entity, may be the cause of big skyscraper, a big victory, a big factory, or even a big city, but he cannot be the cause of big universe. A fragment part of parcel of the Lord, namely the living entity, may be the cause of big skyscraper or big factory or even a big city, but he cannot be the cause of big universe. He cause of the big universe. The cause of the big universe is the big soul or the super soul, and Krishna, the supreme, is the cause of both and big and small soul. Therefore, he is the original cause of all causes. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad. Conqueror of wealth. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as rails are spraying on the tree. There is a common controversy over whether the supreme absolute truth is personal or impersonal. As far Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and this confirmed is every step. In this verse is particular, it is stressed that the absolute truth is a person, that the personality of Godhead is the supreme absolute truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha. That is the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubts that the absolute truth is the supreme person of the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version gives the Sattva Upanishad. In the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst in the demigods, human beings, and our animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form and is from the material contamination. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who is not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. In the material world, Brahma is a primeval living entity within the universe, are understood to be the superior amongst the demigods, human being and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is a transcendence who has no material form, and he is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental. But those who is not, only one who can know him also becomes transcendental. But those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. Anyone who can know Krishna also becomes transcendental, but those who do not Krishna suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalist puts more stress on the more arupam, but this arupam is not impersonal. It is indicates the transcendental form of the eternity, bliss and knowledge, as described in the Brahma Samhita quoted above. Other verses is the Svatasatara Upanishad substantial as follows. I know that supreme personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. One he knows him can transcend the bound of birth or death. There is no way to liberation. There is no way for liberation other than the knowledge of the Supreme Person. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all materialistic conception of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bound of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than his knowledge and his Supreme Person. There is no truth superior to that Supreme Person, because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest and the greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree, and he illumines the transcendental sky, illumines the transcendental sky, and as tree straight in roots, he spreads his existence energies. From the verses one concluded that supreme absolute truth is the supreme personality of God, who is all pervading by his multi energies, both material and spiritual. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun, and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. This verse explains how the Lord is all pervasive by his diverse material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Lord can be primarily described by his different energies, and in this way he is realized impersonally as a demigod is in the sun is a person and is perceived by his all-pervading energy. The sunshine is the sunshine. The sunshine saw the Lord, although in his eternal abode perceived by his all-pervading diffusive energies. The taste of water, it is the active principle of water. No one likes the drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of energies of Lord. The impersonalists perceive the presence of the Lord by water in the taste, by the taste. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink the seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction of water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalists perceive the presence of the Lord in water by its taste, and the personality also glorifies the Lord for his kindness, supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine. Achintya Abheda Tattva, simultaneously oneness and difference. The light of the sun, of moon, originally emanating from the Brahman Jyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, and pranava or the omkara transcendental sound in the beginning of every Vedic hymn addressed to Supreme Lord. Vedic hymns addressed to the Supreme Lord. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord by his innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkara. But they do not realize that Omkara is the sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness, the jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation. Knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance of him is bondage.